I spoke with a Wall Street Journal reporter who's been covering these incidents. We talked about how this could happen and what local government leaders are doing to stop it. Drew Hinshaw from the Wall Street Journal joins us to talk about this issue. He also is the author of an upcoming book called Bring Back Our Girls. Drew, thanks for joining us. This is never an easy topic to discuss when we're talking about children being taken, but we appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, of those girls who were taken last night, do we know their conditions? Are there any indications that they're being harmed at this point?
We just know that 317 remain missing. This looks criminal more than ideological. There is an economy developing in this very important country of taking children from schools and ransoming them off.
Nigeria has a history of abductions for ransom. 6 years ago, more than 270 teenage girls were taken in the night. How similar is this case? And I know this is some of what your book is about.
Right. 6 years ago, probably most people have, it's faded in memory, but, millions of us tweeted, bring back our girls, to bring back the Chibok girls who were kidnapped from northeast Nigeria. That was by Boko Haram. That kidnapping concluded with a ransom that was paid. And now you have more criminal groups kidnapping teenagers from a different part of the country, from the northwest rather than the northeast, and apparently ransoming them off.
How involved is the government to bring back these teenagers? And is the government on a national level or a local level more involved with this?
The federal government seems to be accusing state governments of paying a ransom and saying, hey, you guys keep paying ransoms and kids keep getting kidnapped. The problem here is, it's a moral dilemma whether you pay a ransom or not. The problem here is if the people who keep taking children from schools can't be brought to justice, this will continue happening.
You bring up a very interesting point there about justice. How does that happen in a country in the middle of Africa?
Yeah, I mean, a case in point was the Bring Back Our Girls campaign. Most people don't know when they clicked tweet, it inspired 7 foreign militaries to send spies, drones, even special forces to try to liberate those girls. None of those foreign militaries rescued even a single student. This is very, very hard work. It's really difficult, and there's really not an easy, morally straightforward solution to these crises.
Do we expect any harm to come to these girls? I know we talked about that briefly at the beginning of the interview, but that's something that I think any parent here in America will start to worry about. Absolutely.
A group of boys that was kidnapped in December came home relatively quickly. They said their ransom was paid in the tens of thousands of dollars we're talking. The Chibok girls spent 3 years in captivity. They faced hunger. They were kind of pressured into quote unquote marrying, forced marriage, members of the group. I mean, it was harrowing. Those young women, put up with a lot to survive, and only 106 ever came home. There's still 112 missing.
Many of us are experiencing heartbreak listening to this story, and something else that was brought up in the Wall Street Journal in an article recently talked about the thriving business of ransom. That's another element of this that continues to break hearts. How does this happen?
You have to remember that it's been a really tough 5 or 6 years for Nigeria. The economy has grown slower than the population. COVID hasn't been as bad there as it's been elsewhere, but the economic lockdown has been absolutely, salt on the wound. This is a country that's fighting multiple insurgencies at once. It's got Boko Haram still. It has an ISIS affiliate in the north. It has multiple kind of insecurity crises at once, and by themselves, any of them would be difficult to solve. But together, it's a really tenuous situation.
One thing that keeps popping into my head is humanitarian crisis. Do we expect the United Nations or the United States to get involved and try to bring these girls home?
The United States has always said, we don't believe you should make significant concessions to kidnappers or terrorists. In fact, that's what they said in the beginning days of the Chibok kidnapping. They said, look, we don't want to make this a business. Ultimately, a ransom was paid in that kidnapping, and it does seem to have become a business. But you can also understand, what would you want if those were your kids? This is really morally difficult terrain we're on.
So if the U.S. says they don't want to get involved as far as paying ransom, is there any military force the United States or the United Nations could show?
That's right. The U.S. has drones in the area. It has troops in almost all the countries that border Nigeria. The presence that military presence that deployed to West Africa in the wake of Bring Back Our Girls, the hashtag 6 years ago, that's still there. The problem is, this is Nigeria's sovereign territory. It's a Nigerian problem. Nigeria has to solve it. The U.S., can't fix this problem for Nigerians.
Drew Henshaw, it definitely is something to think about, something that's tough for a lot of parents, really anybody to swallow in this. Yeah. But we sure appreciate your reporting, and thank you for your time on this.
Thank you, too.